What's going on, traders? And welcome back to my YouTube channel as well as to another YouTube video. It's your boy here, the Forex Amateur, and we're gonna do another mid-week review. What am I calling this? I don't even know what I'm calling this, but you'll see in the title basically what this is. Basically, the objective of this video, as the one that I did last week, is to basically break down what I've spoken about earlier on in the week on my Monday morning video regarding my forecasts for this week, how it's basically played out, and what is my expectations going forward. Unfortunately, I was unable to do the video yesterday, as it is my aim to put it out on a Wednesday, but I was unable to do it yesterday due to the fact that it was a public holiday out here. So I did have a lot of things that I needed to do, and there was family, and I had, other things that I needed to do on the side. But anyway, let's not digress. Let's just get straight into the video. Before we do so, let me throw in my disclaimer. Remember, I am not licensed nor qualified to offer financial investment or trading advice. Everything I speak about on these videos is purely my own opinion, right? I do not recommend any specific trade or action. If you do choose to go into live trading, which I do not advocate for specifically, uh, do ensure that you do it with cash that you are willing to lose, because the truth is that you could lose it all, right? It's risky out here. So let's just get straight into today's video, and let's talk a little bit about what we've spoken about earlier in the week. So we'll follow the exact same format of the video. And we did speak about the fact that I was very confident that we will see some bullish upside in here. Um, on the weekly chart, right? So we did speak about the fact that on the weekly chart, I was very confident that we would see a very strong bullish week on the dollar this week. And when we spoke about the dollar index, I did very clearly mark out my levels in here. Let me actually pan in so you can see it. So I did very clearly mark my levels in here, and I did say that coming off here, we did have a market structure break in here, even though we had a lower time frame market structure break below there. We had a pullback, and I did say that from here I was looking to see this market break upwards and keep going up, and my first target or my objective would be for to see it coming above this high, right? If you have not seen that, go back and check out that video, because I swear to God we spoke about this, right? And I have been speaking about it for a while now. So we said that we'd be looking for price to come back into there. Now that we're looking at price in there, right? Now that we're looking at price reaching this level, I would be looking for something where price would perhaps somewhere in and around these areas in here. We'd look for something where we'd get an opportunity to maybe take this price and catch a retest here as it creates the higher low, right? But obviously for now, I would say that we most likely might see a bullish close of this week, right? So which means that the ranges might get slightly smaller going into the close of the week. So it's very possible that we might just see bullish closes going forward for the next 2 days. And then from there, we see maybe a minor consolidation in there, and then we see an opportunity to go short to the downside. Obviously, once this has played out, we'd obviously come back to this chart and speak about it. But for now, I am still full on bullish bias on here. But the fact that this market is above here, I will expect to see some sort of rejections and something to the downside in here, right? Either just above that area or just into that zone in there. Maybe we get a spike into there and then we get it back coming back down, right? So that's what I would be expecting the dollar going forward. I don't necessarily need to go to the 4 hour chart, but we can go down just to talk about the analysis that we spoke about. So when we spoke about this chart last, we saw a market structure break here, and I did say that we were looking for that break. We did see that market structure break on the Monday video, right? And I did say that we'd see what would we see? We'd see some sort of a retest into this level here, which we did see, and now we're going up to the upside to that daily high that I did mark out, which was excuse me, sorry, to that daily high that I did mark up, which was right here. And you can see that was almost a perfect target. And now we did consolidate in that area before we broke through that area. So that would have been a beautiful trade. any dollar pairs that you would have been trading, that would have been a good opportunity to study and have a look at how those prices move in that area and exactly how it is that it plays out. This was a very strong move, and when I spoke about it, I did say that we'll see a strong bullish move on the dollar this week. Moving over to the Euro USD, coming on the weekly chart, we did speak about the fact that I was expecting this level to now push to the downside and have a strong bearish week in the dollar, in the euro dollar. And as you can see, that actually played out pretty well. Looking at the daily chart, we did speak a little bit about the daily chart, and I believe that I had levels marked up here, if I'm not mistaken. And I did say, yeah, I believe that we were looking at something like that. And I did say that would be some sort of a break of market structure, targeting this levels in here and then these levels in here. I believe that this was the level that I spoke about though, right? So now we can see that prices actually come below this area in here. So I would also on here be looking for some sort of rejections and some sort of a pullback to correct this previous strong bearish move to the downside, right? So I would be looking for some sort of a correction in here and look for price to pull back a little bit before it continues back to the downside again. Overall, I am still full on bearish on euro dollar and bullish on the dollar index. Moving over to the synthetic indices market as well, let's talk a little bit about that. Uh, Let me just get that screen up. So looking at the synthetic indices market, let's start on the weekly chart, right? On the weekly chart, I did speak about the fact that I was looking at bearishness on the weekly chart, right? I was looking at strong bearishness on the weekly chart, but the fact that we had just broken market structure to the upside here meant that this was a bullish range. So we wouldn't be surprised if we see some bullish market structure or if we see some bullish market prices in that range, right? Or bullish participation. So looking at this in here, initially I did speak about, I believe it was this zone in here that I did speak about, where I said the price might come back to here and then pull back to the upside. We did get a slight breakthrough here. I believe that I spoke about this. Let me just allow that. I believe that I did speak about this either on last week's video or the previous week's video, where I did speak about price coming back in here. Most likely last week's video, if I'm not mistaken. And I was looking for something to the upside from around there. I am currently in on a position which I did get in. My target is currently up here, but I am expecting to see price come up into there. Overall, looking at this, I would expect to see going forward. I would expect to see this price still try to push up again, right? Because if I look at this daily chart, I would expect to see this price come back up into around this high, maybe give us some wicks into this high, and then continue back to the downside. Because overall, I am expecting a huge bearish push if price reaches back up into this weekly high. So overall, looking at this daily chart alone, we do know that we are strong bullish at the moment in here, back up into that weekly high. Looking at the 4-hour chart, we can easily see that we've just recently had a strong break of market structure, right? Because this whole area here was our last lower high, right? Because it did eventually break to the downside here. So it was the last lower high here. So when price broke above it, this was a market structure break, and we will expect it to now continue to the upside. Maybe it might come into there, play around a little bit, and then make its way back to the upside from there. So overall on here, I'm still looking for upside for the remainder of this week, and we might see it go bearish from around next week, later on in the week itself. Moving on to volatility 75. These are actually charts that I have not been looking at the entire week, right? So I'm not really focused on these charts at the moment. We did speak about this demand zone here, this being a good opportunity to go long from that demand zone, coming back into these previous highs in here. We can see that price has rejected very strongly in there and it has pulled back. So let's drop down to the daily chart, because I don't quite recall what we spoke about, right? I think we did speak about the fact that we were still in this bullish range in here, so that we should expect a pullback into here and then another pushback to the upside in there. This is still something that I would expect to see a nice strong push back into this upside, into this previous high, and where the price wants to get back into there as well. At the moment, currently looking at it, the last break in market structure we have is to the upside. So this is a bullish range, and we can't necessarily be looking for shorts unless we have something on the lower time frame telling us that we can, right? Looking at the lower time frame, we can very clearly see on this market that we had a market structure break here to the downside, right? But the dominant low, that swing low that came into that high, was not broken. This was now a failure to go higher and a break of market structure in here. At minimum, what I would expect is for price to want to come, wow, for price to want to come back into this level of supply in here, and maybe want to go short again from there, something to that effect, or maybe above that and then go short from there, right? So overall, currently looking at this, I will be looking for upsides. First targets will be here, obviously, and second targets will be somewhere in this, inside of this area here, right? So that's very simple. That's very straightforward. Let's move on to the very last chart, which is the volatility 10. And this is one of the charts that I've been trading very, very closely over the past couple of weeks. Are currently holding very long sells on here that I have been holding for the past one, two, and this is currently the third week candle, because I did take an entry up in here, right? So looking at this, we did say that this was an area I was expecting for price to have a false breakout and come back into this previous low, do a slight false breakout here, and then go back to the upside from there. Overall, we can see that this is also a swing that broke market structure, right? Because we had a lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. This is one, two, three hit structure in here. And this was the last lower high that created this lower low. So when price broke above here, we did have a break in market structure in here. So then we would look for a pullback, and then we'd expect price to then go long again from there. So overall, currently, all I'm doing is I'm selling the retracement, right? And I will expect very strong bullish competition when I'm shorting this market. And but I do have a thorough understanding of how to manage the trade and stuff like that. But looking at this, we can see a very clear break in market structure here to the downside coming off this daily level here, right? So I've marked that up. And what I'm basically looking at is the fact that this was actually a TP level. I'm not sure if it's shown on my chart, but I do believe that it should be on on the chart on the Monday video, or on last week's video on Saturday, where I had this marked up as a TP level for cells that I was taking on the way down, right? So there are some cells that I've closed off profits, partial profits, and I am holding at and basically the positions are sponsored, right? It's sponsored positions basically. So looking at this, we can see that price came below this low. So I am expecting to see it make its way back into this level of supply in here, and then maybe do something playing around here, and then want to go higher from there, right? But for now, I am expecting to see it come back into this level of supply right in here. And this is on the daily chart, right? We do have a false breakout below these lows in here, right? We do have this market structure shift in here telling us that we do have a shift in market structure, and we will most likely see this market want to make its way down. It's just about understanding where it's going to go to before it makes its way down, and this is the next logical level that it would target, right? So moving on from there, let's drop down to the 4-hour chart, and let's talk a little bit about the 4-hour chart. So on the 4-hour chart, we can very clearly see that we had this last break to the downside, breaking market structure here, right? Very strong swing to the downside, forming this low, pull back lower high, forming this lower low. Now I am considering this a lower low, right? But it's not necessarily a lower low. It's just because it's a break of market structure that I want to consider this as an actual swing point, right? The fact that now price has broken market structure to the upside has now told me that now we have a switch to the bullish side, which is what I'm expecting to see, since we're sitting at that daily level that I did speak about, right? So looking at this, I will expect this market to make its way up, do something to that effect, make its way above this level specifically in here. So I am full on bullish on this, and I've even gone down all the way to the 30-minute time frame, where I am currently paying very, very close attention to this. I am currently waiting to see this market make its way down somewhere into here, and this is where I'm looking to go for that buy, right? So I have been participating, however, on a couple buys on the way. I did take a buy in here. My target was there. I did take another buy when it came below this low at this point here. And I believe that I targeted that level in there. And I was looking for a buy, but I was expecting it to come down below here. So I didn't end up taking this one, right? So now I'm waiting for price to make its way down very strongly. I'm expecting a strong bearish break to the downside. So I might even take the sell and then look for a buy somewhere in there back to the upside. All right, very simple, very straightforward. I don't really complicate my analysis. I don't really complicate anything that I look at, and that is why there's such precision in the calls that I make and stuff like that. Go back as far as you'd like and look at the calls that we've speaking about, even on this channel specifically. Go back on my social media and check that out. And we've been speaking about this for quite a while, and we've been getting them calls consistent. So anyway, I'm not going to blow my own horn for too long. That's all I have to say from my side. It has been a pleasure, as always, to speak with you guys, and I am wishing you a blessed and a profitable remainder to the trading week, as well as a blessed weekend. And I will catch up with you guys on the next video. I will be dropping the first video for the course tomorrow at 11 o'clock. I will be dropping the first video for the course, the free price action course. So be on the lookout for that, and do ensure to go and check that out when it does drop. So until next time, have a blessed and profitable day.